Hello again, it's me, the guy with the YouTube channel. Anyways, let's just get right on a review. Fucking Mothra larva. Yes, today, doing another review of the Bandai 1992 Showa Mothra larva. Mothra 1964. She's a little small, so it's gonna be a little hard to get her completely in frame. Can't really adjust the camera. So anyways, let's just get on to the detail, and the detail is alright. The tail spike at the end definitely needs work. Hang on, let's focus it. Yeah, it's not that well sculpted. Actually, this spike is actually longer than the other two, which is kind of odd. But other than the tail spike at the end, the detail is pretty nice. See, there's all the feelery legs going along there, all the bumps, ridges. There's a gold spray on her head, which continues down to about here. You can see all her feelers. There's a sort of reddish metallic color on her feelers, more apparent on this side than on this side. There's a texture bit to the bottom half of her, I guess, caterpillarous shell stuff. I don't really know what you would call that section, but it's just kind of basic detail, and the head is really the kind of selling point to the figure. It's very well done. You have all the bumps and ridges. Her eyes are blue, so this is the 64 Mothra larva from Mothra vs. Godzilla, and not the one from Ghidorah the three-headed monster. That one had red eyes. Same thing with the one from Destroy All Monsters. And her tusks, she's a little scuffed, although I got her for cheap, and I got her at G-Fest, and I had a choice between this one with the scuffed paint or one with good paint but a chipped away tusk, so I went for this one. And her beak, whoa, a little close there. You gotta focus in on her there. No. Oh, it's not focusing. Maybe just not focusing really, but yeah. You can see his detail of her beak. Her mouth is open, which most of the other Heisei Mothra larvas just have a closed mouth, so I like this, but there's no sculpted detail in there. You can see underneath there her feelers, which you do see in the movie, so those are accurate. See all the detail there, made in Japan, 1991 Mothra larva. And one thing I don't really get is there's just 6 suction cups, just kind of right there, and only there. They're just sort of there. They're not like spread out throughout the body to help her move. They're just there, like there for suction cup's sake. Yeah, you can see her feelery leg, fuzzy parts on the outside continue in, and you can see them on the inside, which is a nice attention to detail going under there. So detail and paint job are nicely done, pretty basic, and for articulation, this outdoes all monster, and I'm just gonna say this makes monsters look like Bandai creations when it comes to articulation. Let me just say, okay, you ready for this? That's it. Bravo, Bandai, bravo. That's great idea. Obviously, there's not a whole lot you can do with a Mothra larva. And the head could rotate 360, but I don't recommend forcing it because there's kind of a lighter colored patch right there. You can kind of see it. Isn't really showing up well on camera, but it is apparent that's from where it's been rotated 360 and caused a stress mark, which in turn, if you do it too much, will make the head loose, and also weakens the vinyl, causing it to tear, which is physical damage that you don't want to happen to the figure. So, for sizing, now that her brilliant master 5-star articulation is out of the way, here is sizing. So here she is with the 50th anniversary memorial box Godzilla 1975, because this is the only Showa Godzilla I have, I know. you'd think I would have at least 68, and this is a pretty good sizing. This, I believe, was an 8-inch figure, so yeah, this goes a lot better with 6-inch figures. And you do the scene where she's hanging on his tail from either of the Showa movies. It looks good, so there we go. Sizing there is good. Next, here is my repainted Bandai Creation Rodan Final Wars. You know, it's like, I don't have a Showa Rodan, so it's kind of like Ghidorah the 3-headed monster. And I would say this is kind of accurate. I think this figure, it's bigger than the Final Wars Rodan. Should we do the scene where Mothra's on his back? Rodan should be a little bit bigger, although the Bandai Japan Final Wars Rodan would be even more inaccurate, but sizing here is okay. And to bring in another 6-inch sort of Rodan, here's the 8-inch 1993 Fire Rodan, which, if you're going for the scale of Fire Rodan, who's however many meters he is, I think he's actually like 50 meters. Probably not, but this figure is the 8-inch version, so he is 6 inches, and this actually looks a little more accurate, at least for the scene from Ghidorah the 3-headed monster, than it did with the Bandai Creation Final Wars, so a little more accurate, but completely the wrong Rodan. And next, here is the 8-inch Gmk Mothra, because she's one of the only Gmk Mothras I have. Which, she was in GMK, and this is an 8-inch figure, which, I don't really know. It's alright. Could be. I think Mothra should be bigger for an 8-inch figure, but kind of this figure's fault. And also, well, next, this isn't going very well, is it? Next, here's the Bandai Creation Rainbow Mothra. This is my customized version. Which, this looks better than Gmk Mothra, but I think this Mothra's a little too small, so there really kind of needs to be a just right Showa Mothra. So, yeah, looks okay there. You can tell I don't have very many. You literally just saw all the other Mothra figures I have there. Next, seeing as she is an 8-inch figure, and this Mothra larva was in GMK very briefly, here's the Bandai 8-inch Gm K Godzilla, which this is not very accurate at all. No, not very accurate at all, even though this is apparently an 8-inch figure. It goes much better with 6-inch, so very inaccurate. And also from GMK, just for fun, GMK Baragon. They were never on screen together, but yeah, just thought I'd bring them out. And there's no GMK Ghidorah to bring in, sadly. And next, because she was in Tokyo SOS, I don't have a Tokyo SOS Kiryu, so here's the Kiryu from the previous movie, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. This is the Monster Arts version, and I would say this is pretty accurate. I don't remember seeing Kiryu and either of the Mothra larva twins on screen together, but this looks pretty good. So if you want to use this to go with one of the Monster Arts Kiryu figures instead of the Monster Arts larva, then you can. Had to reach a little off screen there to put him away. Next, here is just a standard Bandai Ultra Hero Series figure, Ultraman powered. Looks good. This is just to give you an idea of how big the figure is. There you go. Next, here is a standard Pacific Rim Kaiju, Axe Head. Again, just to give you an idea of how big the figure is. She's obviously way too out of scale to be with Axe Head here, but yeah, I'm a fighter, so yeah, I don't know. your figures, your vinyl. Next, here is the Heisei Godzilla, or sorry, SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1995 Rebirth version. You know, because this would work as a stand-in for a Heisei Godzilla. She was about this big in the movie. You know, you can do the tail biting now. And finally, here is the Neca 6-inch Godzilla 2014. Just to give you an idea of how big this figure is, and this is in no way accurate at all. Same thing with SH Monster Arts Godzilla there. So sizing is good. And finally, for the history of the figure and the pricing, this mold was originally released as part of the 1989 8-inch wave, and the figure was a much darker, deep brown, almost like a coffee bean kind of brownish color. I don't really know if that's how you would call it. And actually the date stamp was actually different, because this says 1991 and the 89 release obviously says 89, so Bandai did actually change the date stamp on a figure for once when they re-released it, and then re-released again as what you were looking at here in 1992, presumably to go along with the release of Godzilla vs. Mothra. And see, this is what it looks like here, lighter brown, and the mold was finally reissued one more time in the 40th anniversary memorial box, and it was a much lighter color all around and soft vinyl, and that one didn't have a tag attached to it, it just had a card. And for the pricing of the figure, the 89 tag, depending on what release you're looking at of this figure, it's usually around $20 to $30, sometimes up to $40, even with the tag, about that price. I've seen the 89 release, at least in the searching I've done on eBay. I saw the 89 release most commonly. This one I saw second most, and saw the memorial box one the least, so there's not really a whole lot of difference, and you can't really go wrong with whatever Showa Mothra larva figure you get. So in the end, I'm going to give this figure an 8 out of 10. It's a good figure, it has some flaws, but there's overall not really a whole lot to it, so 8 out of 10. If you can find her, pick her up. And that's been the end of the video. You've been staying after the videos for a while, haven't you? It's really scaring me. You're just staring at the screen right now. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.